zeroing in. And so there you can see our very prominent landmark, and it has broken off from bedrock up here in Montana, probably sliding across in one of the most cataclysmic events of a clip. Klippe is the geological term, between what might have been earthquake and glacial till. They're not sure why, but one of the most cataclysmic events known to geology, the landing of these bedrock layers out on top of a basin. Those bedrock layers creating this protected zone under which the shoulders of Heart Mountain exist, as it flew out across this plain. And that's our Heart Mountain, North Fork of the Shoshone, South Fork of the Shoshone, and then down here is where we will have our Grable River. And so the Grable River Sustainable Landscape Ecology Project is our neighbor to the south, tying it in, therefore, to the movement of American Indian peoples along these drainages all the way down into the Wind River country. And let's see if we're gonna zero in a little bit more on some of the, can I add the rivers? I could if I knew better. So there's Meeteetse, and here's this big, beautiful Grable River drainage. So go bigger. Whoops. You guys, probably some of you are Google Earth nuts and would know how to do that better. But there we are. There's our larger landscape ecology. Neither Mary Humstone nor I are anthropologists, nor do we do applied anthropology, but we are in conversation, and our work is in conversation with those in the region who are. That's why we have included the GRSLE as part of our foundations of landscape methodology in our early readings, so that nearby us is this exciting project going on, built on that notion that landscape is an interface where culture and environment become, are read in a dialectical process of mountains creating meanings, people developing meanings from mountains, people altering landscapes and giving meanings to those alterations. And that's exactly where our guy Larry Todd comes. You can see here he's got a section on stop looting. It's really interesting in this heterogeneous layers of settler cultures and indigenous cultures. Every find feels like it's part of this wonderful mystery that people, through their work across the land, have kind of earned a piece of the mystery. So it's very hard for somebody like the anthropologists and archaeologists of our area to try and help deliver a message regarding allowing those clues to remain in place, so that the context of positionality and place on the land informs our understanding of those jewels and gems. Defined here is resulting from a complex, evolving, and integrated set of cultural, biological, climatological, chemical, and geological processes. Landscape taphonomy investigates the processes by which these interactions are interpreted over multiple time scales. Now, when you hear that phrase, multiple time scales, I hope you are hearing and thinking some echoes from the Charles Long reading, where he, from the historian's perspective of Fernand Braudel, then talked about a capacity to read history with multiple time scales at work. The longue durée, the conjonction, the événementiel. So the deep, slow processes, the more immediate processes, and then that finally, like the nervous ticking of the antenna of the événementiel, as three different rhythms of time that the historian has to take account of. And here we have the archaeologist talking about multiple time scales are at work in how they are looking at the land. That's a nice echo. And so let's have a look at this image on landscape taphonomy. Here we are. This is quite nice. That the biosphere, which we can think of as the living earth underneath our feet, you know, that 12 inches, 8 inches, 8 to 12 inches of really active soil underneath our feet, the rivers, the up through our weather, up to the larger scales of climate, that our biosphere, the biosphere in Cody, different than that up on Hart Mountain even, because elevation impacts the biosphere. So we have this thick skin of the biosphere in which the human lives in an ecological network. And we have in the lithosphere then those embedded layers of geological time and meanings. And taphonomy then is the study of that zone where human culture, chemistry, geology are impacting the landscape. So here, let's just read. Landscape is the result of a complex, evolving, integrated set of cultural, and see, cultural is more my area of expertise, and as well Mary Humstone's, biological, climatological, and geological processes. Plus, taphonomy investigates the transition of biosphere processes, let's call that the growing of a tree, into records preserved within the lithosphere. Let's call that the fire ring that gets covered over from a flood and ultimately, right? So we have had that transformation, the transition of the tree through the human inventions and creation of the fire ring into a lithospheric layer that we can read. So this is new lingo to me. I'm not a taphonomy expert. I'm not an archaeologist. But if you understand that our landscape project has sister conversations and related experts who are also considering this kind of a dynamic, multiple temporal scales, and the work, understanding our work as providing a compelling ear with which we can listen accurately to the record. Taphonomy fits in then as the way the nearby project, Graybill River Sustainable Landscape Ecology Project, is looking at the lithosphere, looking at the evidence, even the tree rings that tell us about human impact in the area. So what a puzzle. We've got some remarkable work ahead, and I hope this really brief introduction to how landscape is being looked at by Larry Todd and his crew will help you broaden your awareness of the sister conversations around us so that you can take what you're best at and develop a moment's research project with us this summer. Thanks for listening.